All right, good evening, and welcome to Beyond the Classroom with Professor Peachy. Today's topic is another conversation that where we're exploring real lessons that people learn on their journeys through life and work, the ones that are rarely ever taught in a classroom or any kind of training manuals. And so today we're going to talk about men who are game changers, changing lives, building leaders, creating impact. The focus today is helping young men to lead and thrive in life, school, career, and community. And we are featuring none other than Dr. Mark Dawkins. Welcome, Mark.
All right, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
You are so welcome. So, to get started, Mark, we want to know your story. So, the viewers that are meeting you for the first time, introduce yourself, tell them your name, your current role. You just mentioned some new things added to your role, and why you're passionate about helping young men to thrive.
Okay, great. So, as you indicated, my name is Mark Dawkins, and my current role is Professor of Accounting. I'm also Director of Accounting Programs. That's the new role I mentioned. And I am the former dean, and this is all at the University of North Florida in my hometown of Jacksonville, Florida. I am starting my 12th year at the University of North Florida. And prior to joining the University of North Florida in 2015, I spent 21 years on the accounting faculty at the University of Georgia in Athens, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
My last 6 years at the University of Georgia, I was the Associate Dean for Academic Programs. And so I
Okay.
oversaw the undergraduate and master's programs in the Terry College of Business at the University of Georgia.
Okay.
Now, the second question was, why am I passionate about helping young men thrive?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I am passionate about trying to help young men thrive because I believe that too many young men do not fully understand or appreciate the potential to excel within themselves.
Mm.
And I hope to help them see that with hard work, as well as a little luck, they can thrive. So that's why I'm here today. That's why I'm passionate about participating in this podcast.
Thank you so much for that. You know, it's funny that you said that you were that Jacksonville is your hometown. I assumed, and that was my assumption, that Georgia was because you were in Georgia for so long, and that's when I first met you. So
Yes.
that's interesting. How did you
hmm
end up in Georgia?
Well, I did my PhD in accounting at Florida State University.
Oh,
And my wife was finishing law school. She finished right before I finished my PhD. She finished in May, and I finished in December of 1994.
okay,
And she had gotten a job offer in Atlanta, Georgia.
okay,
And I had interviews set up with 9 schools. And the chairman of the accounting program at the University of Georgia, a guy named Russ Barefoot, who's deceased now, Russ
mm-hmm.
invited me to come visit the University of Georgia that October, which is very early for the accounting recruiting cycle,
Okay,
and they made me an offer. And so we had the opportunity to, she'd had a job in Atlanta, and I would have a job in Athens, Georgia. They're about 61 miles apart. So it just
okay.
worked out timing wise that it made sense for me to accept my job in Athens and for my wife to accept the job in Atlanta. And that's what we did.
That's cool. Awesome story.
Yeah.
Okay, things
Yeah.
in alignment. That's awesome.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay. So, our first question: when did
Yes.
someone believe in you before you believed in yourself? Who was that person and how did that impact your life?
Okay. Now, I hope you'll give me a little bit of latitude because I would like to answer this, actually answer a slightly different question.
That's fine.
And I say that because I was fortunate to have parents who always believed in my 6 brothers and me. So I have six
Mhm.
brothers,
Oh,
no
wow.
sisters. So there were 7 boys in my family. And
That's a lot.
yeah, and my dad, who is deceased, was a medical doctor. He was
Mm,
the first one in his family to go to college and went to an HBCU, FAMU, and then went to Meharry Medical School. And my mom, who's still alive, is 91 years old. She was a
hmm.
nurse. And
Okay.
so, as my brothers and I grew up, they always stressed the importance of getting an education. And they
Hmm.
told us all the time, no one can take an education from you. So get a good education. So
Hmm.
I would say, and now that I'm towards the latter stage of my career, that their words and guidance have served my brothers and I well. So 2 of my brothers are medical doctors, 2
Hmm.
work in financial services, one is an attorney. I'm a
Hmm.
professor, and my
Right.
oldest brother is actually deceased. He passed away back in 22.
Sorry to hear
We've
that.
all, yeah, we've all been successful. All have, took to heart, get a good education, see where
Mm-hmm.
that leads you. Now, to
Mm-hmm.
answer the question you asked me, so who impacted my life?
Yes.
I'm going to go back to my undergraduate experience at Georgia Tech. So my parents were
Okay.
very supportive. But the person who impacted my life is really a professor who taught my public speaking class at Georgia Tech. So I did my undergraduate at
Mm.
Georgia Tech,
Okay.
and I took this public speaking class. And
Mm-hmm.
this may not sound like a positive story, but I think it is a positive story.
Okay.
So Georgia Tech was on the quarter system back in 1980s when I was there, and I was there from 1981 to 1985.
Okay.
We had to take this public speaking class. I took the class, and quarters were about 10 weeks of a quarter, 10 or 11 weeks. And the way the class was set up was we had to give speeches every week. And
Mm-hmm.
the other students in the class would grade each of your speeches.
Okay.
And so towards the end of the quarter, I realized that there was one student in the class who always gave me the lowest grade on every speech I did.
Mm.
So you were graded on a 1 to 5 scale, and 1 being bad, 5 being good.
Okay.
So towards the end of the quarter, I realized that someone was giving me ones on all of my speeches.
Mm-hmm.
I was the only Black or African American in the class.
Okay.
And so I went to the professor, it was a male, white male professor, and I said, listen, I said, you can look at this. This person, no matter how good a job I did, this
Mm-hmm.
person is always giving me ones throughout the entire semester.
Right.
And it actually caused me to get a B in the class rather than an A. So,
Okay.
so I went to the professor, pleading my case that this was unfair
Mm-hmm.
and, that the professor should make an adjustment. And the professor said to me, he said, I am not going to adjust your grade because you need to understand that these types of things are going to happen to you
Mm.
essentially for the rest of your life.
Right.
And
Mm.
so yes, I agree with you that this student has graded you unfairly, but I'm not going to change your grade because I want you to be sensitive and aware that this is what your life is going to be.
Mm.
And to me, that was a valuable lesson to get while I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
Think these types of things will happen. And he was right. I mean, I have
Mm-hmm.
encountered difficult situations,
Mm-hmm.
scenarios where I thought my race was taken into consideration in a negative way. But
Right.
so that person and that experience had a tremendous impact on my life in terms of just opening my eyes to the reality of what the next 40 years of my life were going to be like and these
Mm-hmm.
experiences that I would have as I went through life. So
Mm.
again, it had in the end a positive impact. At the time, I thought it was a negative impact because I
Right.
thought I deserved an A, and the professor
Right.
wouldn't
Right.
change
Right.
my grade to an A.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I thought later, I said I should have found out who was doing this early in the quarter and started giving that person ones on all of their speeches. But
Right.
you aren't thinking about that when you're 18,
You're
19,
not.
19, 20 years old. I mean, you're thinking
Mm-hmm.
people are going to judge you fairly, treat you fairly. So
Mm-hmm.
it was an important life lesson to learn at an early stage.
I agree. I mean, we as African Americans are just considered minorities,
Hmm.
according to the majority anyway,
Right.
are always kind of picked in that way, and
Yes.
separated and picked apart. And that makes so much sense because when I first met you, you were
Hmm.
like, no, you need to retake this math class if you're going to consider this because you just need this to look different on here. And I heard what you were saying, and basically you were saying the same thing. I don't want you
Right.
handpicked.
Right.
I
Yes.
need this to be better so that you excel a little bit more. And I
Hmm.
get it. And now it
Right.
came to you that way. So now organically you're paying it forward. I don't even know if you realize that or not.
I did not realize that, but I'm happy to pay it forward.
But that
Yeah.
makes so much sense. Thank you
Yes.
for sharing
Hmm.
that.
Yes.
Because a
Hmm.
lot of our students, they're sensitive, right?
Hmm.
But sensitive in that they become defensive
Correct.
if the
Hmm.
professor tells them something to that effect. Yes,
Yes.
I aware this is unfair, but this is the reality, right?
Yes.
They're
Hmm.
Today's students don't that doesn't sit well with them. They
Oh,
don't
it does.
digest that at all.
you're right. It does not sit well, and they'll have a negative reaction. But
Hmm.
again, I mean, that was back in probably 1983, 84. But it
Hmm.
it has stayed with me since that. It's one of the few things that I remember about my undergraduate experience was that experience in that class.
I'm glad you shared that. So
Hmm.
hopefully some of the people watching, male and or female, will
Right.
understand those life lessons that are kind of experienced
Hmm.
in that way, that
Yes.
don't really feel well, but
Right.
aren't going to be fair, but
Hmm.
they do help us to grow and be sensitive to what can
Yes.
happen.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
All
Well,
right.
thank you. That was good. Let's go to number two.
Okay.
What did you need as a young man that you didn't receive, and how has that shaped your the man that you are today?
Okay. So again, my parents were very supportive of my brothers and I. So I really cannot specifically identify anything that I would say I needed as a young man that I did not receive.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Catholic schools from K through 12.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, we were middle class, but my parents chose to spend money to make sure we got a good education. And so
Right.
I can't really say that I needed anything, but I did grow
Mm-hmm.
up in a family that had high expectations and high standards. And
Mm-hmm.
we were punished when we fell short of the high expectations and high standards.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say this, that, my dad is deceased, but my parents did believe in corporal punishment. And so
Right.
we knew that if we acted up or were out of line, we were going to be spanked and, if we did something wrong. And so we
Mm-hmm.
always did try to do our best and to do right. We didn't want to
Right.
embarrass our family, embarrass our parents.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would say that, unfortunately, my brothers and I did receive more than our fair share of spanking. So we actually
Right.
get into a lot of trouble and had to be punished by our parents. But again,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to do that kind of stuff today because people will report you. But I
Mm-hmm.
do think that helped shape the people who we are, my brothers and I,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully has led to us, raising our kids a certain way and instilling in them the high expectations and standards that we experienced while we were growing up.
Yeah, I totally agree. We grew up with the era of spare the rod, spoil the child.
Hmm. Yep.
And they did not play that.
Nope. Nope.
Oh my
Exactly.
goodness.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's go on to the lessons learned.
Okay.
What habits, routines, or disciplines changed your life? And what would you encourage young men to start doing as a result of that?
Yes. Now, I think, Regina, I think this is a great question. I mean, all the questions are good, but this is an outstanding question. So, for me, the most important habits, routines, or disciplines that I would say changed my life would be setting goals,
Hmm.
developing plans to pursue and achieve those goals.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to tell young people today that you cannot know where you're going if you don't have goals and don't have plans to achieve those goals. You
Mm-hmm.
can go through life without goals and without plans, and you're kind of just bouncing along, floating
Mm-hmm.
along, and but you don't have any measurable objectives that you can check off and say, I've done this, what's next? So
Right.
I often need to update or revise my goals and plans. And so there are
Yes.
many things, goals and plans that I have. Some I achieve, some I don't achieve. But that's the point of having goals and plans. You have
Mm-hmm.
things that you're striving to accomplish, and then you have plans for how you want to get there. But
Mm-hmm.
even when you don't get to the goal in the manner or the time that you wanted to, that's okay. Because
Mm-hmm.
rarely does anything work out in life. We all know that. It doesn't work
Right.
out as we originally planned, and that's okay. But you
Mm-hmm.
have to have some target and something to motivate you to keep you going. And so I think I can't emphasize enough the importance of setting goals and developing plans to try to achieve those goals.
That's good because, I do think a lot of people give up because of lack of the direction.
Hmm.
I don't know about you, but in class, you could see the mannerism. And so I'll
Yes.
say, so hey, so what's your intent for this class? I don't know. They put me in this class. Like,
Right.
okay, so
Hmm.
now that you're here,
Right. Yeah. Are
humor
you gonna
me.
take advantage of the opportunity? Exactly. You're
Yes.
here.
Yes, you're
What are you
here.
gonna do with
So
the
what are you going
opportunity?
to do now that you're showing
Right.
up? What are
Exactly.
you going to do with that? So
Yes.
yes.
Right. Hmm. Exactly.
So we're encouraging students to set some goals and make some plans, even if you find yourself in a place you don't necessarily think you should be. There's
Yeah,
always something for them to learn, right?
always. Yeah, life is a learning experience, and I hope I get a chance to say more about that later.
Okay.
But I think I will. But yes,
Okay. So what advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
so I would tell myself to take life seriously. I mean, not
Okay.
that I haven't taken life seriously, um, but I would go back and tell myself, okay, you're at a young age and you've got 40 years or 50 years ahead of you now. Take life seriously. As I said in the past question, make goals and plans,
Mm-hmm.
execute those plans to the best of your ability,
Mm-hmm.
but also enjoy the ride or the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Life is
Mm-hmm.
going to takes all of us through unexpected twists and turns,
It
and
does.
we always have to try to keep our eye on the prize, which is the
Mm-hmm.
goals. So
Mm-hmm.
even when we experience setbacks, we're all going to experience setbacks. We've all had to experience setbacks, but
Right.
those setbacks hopefully provide additional motivation to keep us moving forward, to strive
Mm-hmm.
to whatever that goal is, let's keep striving to get to that goal. So yeah,
Right.
I mean, I think I've achieved a lot of the goals that I've set for myself in life. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
CPA, CMA, have all these certifications, got my PhD, have had a very successful career. But there's always what's next for me. What do I still want to accomplish in the time that I have left? And so yeah, I would just go back and tell myself at 18 to be a little bit more serious, and take life seriously, enjoy it, but
Mm-hmm.
take it seriously and just work hard and enjoy the experience.
So I'm gonna expand you a little bit. So
Hmm.
you touched all the points of all the professional goals that you've accomplished. What
Hmm.
about personal goals? The part that you enjoyed?
Yeah, yeah. So um, I'm glad you brought that up because I always tell when I was a dean, I always told my staff and I always tell people enjoy life, work hard, but
Mm-hmm.
realize a job is a job
Mm-hmm.
and that should not become your life. And
Right.
so I take time to do the things that I want to do. So for example, I started skiing late in life when I was
Oh, did you?
started my work career back at the University of Georgia in 1994.
Mm-hmm.
But I will spend 2 to 3 weeks a year skiing.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and most of my brothers who used to ski have all stopped skiing, but I still ski because I enjoy skiing. And
Right.
so my wife and I travel extensively during the summers,
Mm-hmm.
and because my philosophy is, I don't know, tomorrow's never promised to any of us.
Right.
And
Right.
so the time that I have, I am going to enjoy that time. And I'm going to do the things I want to do when I want to do them.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people this story. I had a faculty colleague who taught me at the University of Florida when I did my master's work, and
Okay.
he ended up being a colleague of mine at the University of Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the best accounting professor I ever had. Outstanding teacher. And he did a lot of investing throughout his career. He
Mm-hmm.
was a multimillionaire, but he drove a 20-year-old car,
Mm-hmm.
and his whole thing was, I'm saving all this money because when I retire, my wife and I are going to travel.
Okay.
Great goal, great
Mm-hmm.
plan,
Mm-hmm.
but unfortunately, what happened is when he retired, around the time he retired, he got diagnosed with Parkinson's,
Oh,
and it
wow.
was probably the worst case of Parkinson's I have ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And he was never able to travel. And
Wow.
so he probably lived 2 or 3 years, and he eventually passed away because of the Parkinson's. But he
Mm-hmm.
had saved all that money and denied himself all these experiences he could have had with his wife
Right. 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 Right.
because he was saving that all for when he retired.
Right.
And then he had that health challenge that just prevented him from
Doing anything.
doing anything. And,
Wow.
and so, I tell that story to a lot of people. It's like, don't let that be you.
Mm-hmm.
Do the
Mm-hmm.
things you want to do while you can do that,
Mm-hmm.
so that when your time comes and the good Lord calls you home,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have any regrets. You did what you wanted
Right.
to do when you wanted to do it,
Right.
and you don't have any regrets about the life that you lived. And that's where I want to be. I don't have any regrets. When my time comes, I will be okay because I will have done what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it.
That makes so much sense.
Right.
I hear that all the time,
Hmm.
where people are, just work like through their summers and stuff and like the online, I'm
Hmm.
cool with doing, a few
Yeah.
online classes. I don't
Hmm.
want to be consumed with it, right?
Right.
And
Exactly.
so like there are people, I have coworkers who, because we can teach up to four per some part each part of the
Hmm.
summer. I'm like,
Okay.
I don't want that. Like
Right.
I need to go somewhere. I need the beach and
You
the ocean in my life.
you need me time.
I
Exactly.
need
Yes.
some me time. Let me
Exactly.
decompress from this.
Yes.
No, I don't want to do this all my whole life.
Right.
So I get
Exactly.
it. And people are like, you're
Yeah.
always traveling. It's like, no, I need to do this. Yes, I
Exactly.
am, but it's
Right.
a need because you have
Exactly.
to have the balance.
Yeah, you have to have the balance and however you recharge yourself. I mean, for me, it's
Mm-hmm.
skiing and traveling and
Mm-hmm.
playing golf, things like that. I mean, I do all of that because I work hard, but I play hard. I play equally hard. Yep.
So work hard, play hard. We used to say that in the
Mhm.
gym.
Yep. Work hard, play hard. But I live it. I
That's
live it.
good.
Hmm.
That is good.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's move into supporting young men.
Okay.
What's one misconception people have about young men today?
Yeah. So I believe that a misconception that I think people have about young men is that they're lazy or they lack motivation.
Mm,
And it may be true that they lack direction and they don't have
okay.
goals yet, that they're pursuing that haven't come up with a plan yet. But I don't necessarily think young men are lazy or lack motivation. There may be a
Mm-hmm.
small subset of young men who that's true for, that they may be lazy and lack motivation, but I don't think in
Right.
general that that's the case.
Right.
I think that young people today, they need to see opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
They need to believe those opportunities are viable and realistic. And I
Mm-hmm.
think if they think these opportunities are viable and realistic, and then they
Mm-hmm.
can come up with their goals and their plans to achieve these goals, then yeah, I think the sky's the limit. So yeah, I don't buy into the misconception that some young people, or a lot of young people are lazy or lack motivation. I just think they haven't gotten to the point of establishing goals and developing plans to achieve those goals.
Yes. And to your point, I agree that they may lack the goals or the direction because there's no clarity of thought of what
Hmm.
that looks like every day, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I also have a program, been having it for over 20 years, called the Accounting
Hmm.
Career Symposium. And in
Okay.
that program, I invite people out that are doing all these titles, right, that they
Hmm.
hear, so that
Yes.
they can actually have these candid conversations to say, oh, is that what you do all day? Because
Hmm.
everybody's not fortunate to have an internship or a shadowship or even know somebody that's
Yep.
ever done any of the things.
Right.
And so I felt it was my obligation at work to let me,
Hmm.
well, since the idea came to me, I'm like, well, let me introduce them to these people. And everybody that comes to the symposium are not all doing accounting, but they may
Yes.
have majored in accounting. And so that's the
Okay.
other piece that I want them to know. Like, knowing accounting helps you do a lot more
Yeah.
than just accounting.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
that exposure helps them.
Yeah, I mean, because it's sometimes hard to see something as a possibility for you if you don't know anyone who's done that before. And so
Mm-hmm.
getting exposed to people who have done X, Y, or Z, whatever those things may be, opens up the world of possibilities to young people.
It does.
Right. Yeah. And I'm not a believer that college is for everyone. I mean, I think there are
Right.
people who should go to college, but I think the trades are a wonderful profession. And so,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
if someone wants to work with their hands and wants to be a plumber, electrician, more power to you. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and if you think about the impact of AI, I mean, the trades are probably going to be the safest fields to go into because
Exactly.
AI can't do plumbing work in your house. AI
Exactly.
can't wire your house for you and do that kind of stuff, fix those
Mm,
kind of issues. It might help, but
exactly.
it can't do the work itself. So again, yeah, people need to chart their own path, and you gotta be exposed to it to see whether that's a possibility for you.
That's true. And the other part of my exposing them is exposing them to people that look like them so that
Hmm.
they can even then more see themselves in a role.
Yes.
Because I had
Yes.
a young man tell me one time that he couldn't be anything more than a pimp or a drug dealer. And I was like, really? I said, where'd
Really?
you get that from? And he
Uh-huh.
was like,
Right.
well, these old men sit on the corner and this is
Mm,
what they said. I was like, no, you can be
mhm.
what you decide you want to be. I was like,
Exactly.
let me introduce you to some people.
People.
And
Yep.
so that same young man came back after graduating because he ended up
Hmm.
going to Midwestern State, and he
Okay.
came back to let me know he has graduated. He was walking
Hmm.
into his career and
Yep.
thanked me for, letting him
Hmm.
know there was more out there.
Right.
And I'm like,
Exactly.
yes. I'm like, you can't look at what people are doing and then
Hmm.
believe that that's the limit when there are
Exactly.
plenty of other people in the world.
Exactly.
So he was
Yeah.
grateful for that. So I think just giving them that information, hopefully
Hmm.
them listening to things like our conversation today
Right.
will open
Hmm.
their eyes to see that there's more out there.
Exactly. That's a great story. So yeah, I love it.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Okay. Next, how do we teach young men confidence without creating ego or entitlement?
Okay. So, I said earlier that I've had a blessed life by most standards.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I would say is I have always refused to let others define me.
Yes.
This has led me to being confident in myself and my abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important for young men to hear what people say about them or how they describe them, but confidence is internal rather than external.
Yes.
So when someone says something positive or negative about me, I always listen because I want to improve, and I may not agree with them, but often
Mm-hmm.
there's kernels of truth in what people say about
Right.
you or to you. And so
Right.
you can always learn from those experiences. And so I always listen to what people say about me. But
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, I do not let anything that others say about me define me.
Right.
I define me for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have confidence in myself because I believe in my own abilities. I believe in my
Mm-hmm.
own intellect. I believe in that I can achieve the things that I set out for me to achieve. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, I think young men have to have internal confidence and they
Yes.
have to have the ability to, people will say X, Y, and Z about you or to you. And again,
Mm-hmm.
listen to that, learn from that, but don't internalize that
Yes.
because you have to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, other people aren't going to believe in you. And
True.
so this is not about creating ego or entitlement. It's just about having that self motivation and that
Mm-hmm.
intrinsic ego or entitlement to say, I'm going to do what I want to do and I'm going to achieve the things that I want to achieve in life. And,
Mm-hmm.
people can say whatever they want to say, but
Right.
it's not going to impact me one way or the other. My motivation is internal and I'm
Right.
moving on no matter what people say.
Mm-hmm. Don't let them hold you back.
Exactly. Don't let them
Yeah.
hold you back. Don't let them get you down.
Yes. It was
Yep.
so funny you said that. I remember graduating with my undergrad,
Mm-hmm.
and they were celebrating me at work, and I worked
Uh-huh.
here in Chicago at a bank downtown.
Okay.
My manager came to me, and I'm thinking, he's finally going to say something nice. Why
Uh-huh.
was I thinking that?
Right.
He
Exactly.
says to me, he said, "What doesn't matter how many degrees you get, you'll never be anything." And I laughed. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
really? I was like, oh
Uh-huh.
my goodness. I said, just sit back and watch me.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. You'll see how high I rise and how
You'll
far I fly.
see.
Exactly.
Yes. I was
Yep.
like, but just know I won't be reporting to you,
To
dear.
you. Right. Exactly. Yep.
So yes, it happened.
It'll always happen. There'll be people that'll be the naysayers, but you can't internalize that stuff.
Mm-mm.
Believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Internalize your self-worth and live by that.
Mm-hmm. For me, it was always fuel. It
Hmm.
propelled me to do more anytime I heard
Exactly.
anything
Hmm.
negative. So yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay. So what role should fathers, father figures, and male mentors play in a young man's development today?
Yeah. So I have my son is about to turn 30 in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
And so I think fathers, father figures, and male mentors have to provide support,
Mm-hmm.
guidance, advice, and counsel to young men as they develop today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, people, people, you don't know what you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're smart, you're going to want to find those father figures or your father or your male mentors, and you're going to want to listen to them so that their past experiences and life experiences can hopefully help shape your life experiences where you avoid some of the pitfalls that they may have experienced in their lives. So
Absolutely.
yeah, we're here to help. Again, a lot of young people, I tell my students, I'm here to help you be successful in my class. I wish
Mm-hmm.
more students would come to me and ask for help and guidance to be successful. But I mean, I'm there as a resource, but I can't force you to take advantage of me being there and
Mm-hmm.
offering to be a resource. So
Yes.
yes, support, guidance, advice, and counsel. I think that's what father figures and male mentors can do, but it's incumbent upon the young people to take advantage of it, to reach out and realize that that type of guidance can help avoid pitfalls in life.
That is so true. They just have to be willing to listen
Yep.
and to hear the underlying story of what's shared, and then to come to you. Like you said,
Yes.
we sit in our office hours. I don't know about you. I
Hmm.
sit in my office during my office hours by myself.
It's the same for me. I mean, if I have 10 students come to my office in a whole semester,
Yes,
I mean, I might
yes,
have 10 students the whole semester. So yes,
yes.
I sit there doing my own work, doing my own
Uh-huh.
thing, and I'm
Uh-huh.
available, but the students
Right.
don't come. Yeah,
Yes. So students, hear us clear. We are here to help you with whatever it is.
exactly.
If it's our class, our lesson, or if
Hmm.
you just need mentoring, you need guidance,
Hmm.
you have an idea, you don't know how to implement it,
Yeah.
come walk by, say hi, and then you never know
Hmm.
where the conversation will lead.
Exactly. Yep.
There's more people willing to help than not. You guys just have
Yes.
to take the first step.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move into career and life readiness.
Okay.
What professional skill or life skill do you believe every young man should develop before entering the workforce?
So I think that there are three professional skills or life skills that every young man should develop before entering the workforce. And
Hmm.
for me, these three things are punctuality.
Okay.
That can be tied to being an accountant. I believe in punctuality,
Right.
attention to detail,
Yes.
and a desire to learn. So
Yes.
I recently attended a banquet for college students where I thought the CEO speaker gave the best message to college students, one of the best talks I've heard.
Hmm.
So this CEO said to do the whatever job you're doing, do it to the best of your ability each day, and to try to learn something on the job each day.
Hmm.
So he was summarizing his work experience and his work story, and he said his first job was delivering residential termite treatment. So he had to go out and treat people's houses for termites. And he
Hmm.
said he really loved that job because he loved being outside and
Hmm.
he was providing a good service to people. So, he said that that was his first job. And he said at the time he thought he would do that for the rest of his life. But
Wow.
after he finished college, he passed the CPA exam and then he accepted a job with an apartment developer. And he said, his objective was, I'm going to go in every day and I'm going to learn something new every day. I'm going to work hard, but my goal is to learn something new every day. He said
Hmm.
he did not worry about the next promotion or worry about, I want to be in the C suite, I want to be a CEO. He said, I just want to learn something every day on the job so that I can do the job a little better the next day.
Hmm.
And he said, he is now a CEO, but he
Hmm.
acknowledged that, he said that they were equally talented people when he started that job sitting
Hmm.
next to him. And he said that, and this was what I thought was the most important thing he said.
Hmm.
He said he was fortunate that he had lucky breaks. He
Hmm.
said the other person sitting next to him could have had the same lucky breaks, but they happened to fall his way. And so he said, in life, some people get lucky breaks, some people don't get lucky breaks.
Right.
And so he said he was never worried about trying to be CEO. He said, I just wanted to be the best I could be and
Hmm.
work hard, pay attention to detail, learn something every day. And he said, I happen to get the benefit of these lucky breaks. And
Hmm.
these lucky breaks advanced my career. And so
Right.
he ended up as a CEO. Not that that was something he was trying to get to, but he ended
Right.
up being there. And so he said his lesson was we don't control the lucky breaks we get or don't get in life.
Right.
Things happen in life, and sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're not lucky. And he
Right.
said, just focus on learning every day, doing the best job you can do, be punctual, pay attention to detail, learn a little bit every day. And then at the end of that process, hopefully you get the lucky breaks that your career advances because you got those lucky breaks. But even if
Right.
you don't, you've learned something every day as you went through life. And you hopefully will have had a good career experience as well. So, but I thought his lesson about, because I look back on my life, there are lucky breaks that we get in life that
Mm-hmm.
help advance our careers. And we know that there are people sitting next to us who didn't get that lucky break that we got.
Yep.
But they were equally talented, and the break just fell our way rather than their way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just life. I mean, sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're not.
That's true.
Hmm.
Well, the Facts of Life song came to mind. You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of
Yeah,
life.
there you go. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. Okay. What is one financial lesson that you wish you had learned earlier in life?
So, being a CPA, I would say that I wish I had learned early in life how critical it is to start saving for retirement when you're
Mm,
in your 20s,
mm-hmm.
really between 20 and 29.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as an accountant, we know the benefits of compound interest.
Right.
And I had my undergrad degree was accounting. My master's was I had an MBA in finance, I had a master's of accounting. But you know all this book stuff, but the reality of that knowledge in my life didn't hit me till later.
Right.
So, I always tell my students now, I say,
Mm-hmm.
I want to tell you the mistake that I didn't. If there was one thing I can give you that I didn't realize until later in life, it's this. It's the benefits of compound interest. And so,
Right.
and so I have a handout that I give them that shows that, if you invest a fixed amount each year, that if you invest that fixed amount, let's just say it's $7,000 a year, which is 7,500, the Roth IRA limit. If you
Mm-hmm.
invest that between the time you're 20 and 29 for 10 years, you invested $75,000. And then when you retire at 70, you'll be a multimillionaire. And then I
Mm-hmm.
say, if you miss that 20 to 29 window and you start investing at 30, you can invest for the next 40 years. So from when you're 30 to when you're 69, you can
Yeah.
invest that same $7,500 and you will have invested four times the money. You will invest $300,000 and you actually are going to end up worse off and have less money than the person who did the 75,000 between 20 and 29 because
Right.
that's the benefit of compound interest.
Yes.
I always tell my students in every class I teach now, I give them this handout and I say, don't make the mistake that I made. You get out, you want to buy a car, you want to get a house, you want to do all this stuff, which I
Mm-hmm.
don't have any problem with that, but make sure you're investing in your retirement early. And so, ideally start saving for retirement at 20 and then invest the whole way until you retire at 70 or whenever you retire. That's the financial lesson that I wish I had understood early in my life.
You and me both.
Hmm. Right,
Especially now taking care of this 96-year-old. I'm like,
right.
chill.
Hmm.
I need some more money set
Yes,
aside.
exactly. Yes, yeah,
This is expensive.
yes, yeah. It is. It
It
is
is.
very
And it
expensive.
sneaks up on you. It's like,
Hmm.
before you know it, you're in your 40s. Before you know it, you're in your
Uh-huh.
50s. And you're like, am I going out my 50s? Wait a minute. Hold,
Right.
please. I need some
Am,
more time.
am I ever going to be able to retire?
Right.
Do I have the
Yes.
money that I think I'm going to need so I can retire comfortably?
Yes. Yes.
And
And
again,
you really start counting it the more
hmm
decades that pass you by. You're like, wait a minute. Okay, I think I need
hmm
some more.
exactly. Yes, yes.
So yes, that's a good lesson. I hope students that are listening
Hmm.
start saving. Retirement comes blink of an eye, and you're like, oh my God, you never know when you're gonna need it.
Life passes quickly.
What?
It passes quickly.
Yes, it does.
It seems like a year or two ago, I was at Georgia Tech as an undergrad.
Right.
And now I'm 4 or 5 years from retirement. Life
Right.
passes very quickly. Yes.
It child, I didn't understand what grandma used to say, by and
Hmm.
by you'll understand. I'm like, okay, what are
Hmm.
you talking about, grandma? Now I
Uh-huh.
get it. It's like,
Yep. Exactly. Yes. Yeah, so
oh,
true.
it is so true.
Hmm.
Okay. So that was a good lesson.
Uh-huh.
How can young men discover their purpose when they feel uncertain about their future?
Yeah. This is the most challenging question because none of us know how big of an impact AI is going to have.
Mm-hmm.
on our lives, not only
Mm-hmm.
our personal lives, but also our professional lives and our work lives.
Yes.
And so, as young men are trying to figure out what is their purpose and what do they hope to achieve in life and setting up those goals and plans to get there,
Mm-hmm.
the hidden thing to me is AI and the impact of AI.
Mm-hmm.
So I think about my son who's going to turn 30 in 2 weeks. Now, my son, you would think, is well positioned to be successful. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's a medical doctor. He's board certified in internal medicine, board certified in palliative care. He just finished a fellowship in geriatrics, so he's going to take that board in November. So he's probably going to be triple board certified.
That's
But
good.
even for someone that's highly trained, highly educated, AI is impacting everything we do in life.
It is.
And so, I worry about my son. I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
yes, he's got all this medical training, but doctors, they're already showing that AI is better at diagnosing most of stuff than doctors are. And so
Mm-hmm.
his career is going to be impacted tremendously by AI.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's young people trying to figure out what is their passion, what do they want to do with their life. That this is a hard question.
Right.
Discovering your purpose. You know, I, my advice is to try to figure out something that's going to have not that can't be impacted tremendously by AI. And that's why I
Right.
mentioned the trades earlier. Because
Yes.
yes, the trades AI can tell them how to do a plumbing job quicker maybe, but
Mm-hmm. It can't do the
you gotta
job.
it can't do the job. You've got to do
Right.
that work with your hands.
Right. Right.
If
Right.
you are an auto mechanic, you have to fix the car with your hands. Yes, you
Yes.
use AI tools and stuff like that, but
Mm-hmm.
that's something that you cannot be replaced. I worry about highly educated people
Mm-hmm.
and the threats to just so many jobs because of AI. And
Yes.
so yeah, I mean, so yeah, I like to tell people, try to figure out something where AI is not going to eliminate that job or to
Right.
completely take over and do that job. And
Right.
and that way you can try to protect your future opportunities.
Yeah, and I guess it is a hard thing because you want to do something you enjoy. You don't want to feel stuck in
Right.
having to do something. So you
Yes.
still kind of want to figure that
Hmm.
out, but we do have to be mindful, right? And
Yes.
not be
Yeah.
dismissive
Right.
of the changes that are happening right before us.
Oh yeah. I'm so
So,
happy that I'm 4 or 5 years from retirement, that I'm on the tail end of my career. So AI can, yeah, it can impact what we do. And and I know as professors, it does impact what we do. But,
right,
I probably will retire before it fully impacts what we do.
right.
Someone that's starting out as an academic, that's got a 30 plus year career ahead of them.
Hmm.
I mean, it's just a lot of unknowns,
It is a lot of
a
unknowns.
lot of unknowns. Yeah.
That is so true. And we used to have the mindset that, I'm unique. I can't be replaced. But then
Right.
now they found a way
Yeah.
to, you know,
I'm not sure
make
how many of
that
us at the end of
kind
the
of
day can't
obsolete.
be replaced. Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. So people just kind of focus on keeping your eyes open and being aware and just being knowledgeable and not just in a silo of what you think you're doing or wanting to do. But I would just suggest to you students, just kind of, keeping your eyes wide open and just watching how life changes.
Or figuring out how you can use AI to create a
Yes.
path for yourself
Yes.
that is unique. So I give you another quick example. I said I have two brothers that are doctors. One of my
Mm-hmm.
brothers has about 17 physical offices. So he's a very good entrepreneur. But he has spent the last several years building
Mm-hmm.
out a telemedicine practice, and he's now licensed in all 50 states
That's
because
awesome.
he sees that the future of medicine is telemedicine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the physical offices necessarily. Yes, you'll have to go to doctors physically for some things, but most things you'll be able to do in telemedicine. And so
Mm-hmm.
he's already positioned himself that he does telemedicine calls in all 50 states. And
Okay.
so, he's positioning for the next phase of his career.
Right.
Right. So yeah, I mean and he's using AI to position himself for that next phase of his career. So yeah, think of how you can use AI to benefit
Mm-hmm.
you and
Mm-hmm.
what you want to do in your career path.
That's
Right.
good. That
Hmm.
is good. All right, students, y'all got a challenge ahead of you.
Yes, you do. Yes.
Okay, so in closing, last few questions. What does being a game changer mean to you?
So I equate the term being a game changer to anyone who makes a positive and significant impact on other people.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is being a game changer, that
Mm-hmm.
you're impacting people in a positive and significant way, and in whatever way is benefiting them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, if it's students and I can help some students in terms of figuring out what they want to do with their career and motivate them to pursue that career. I mean, like one of the biggest joys I have is when a former student reaches out to me and says,
Yes.
"Hey, I've passed the CPA exam, or I've
Yes.
gotten this promotion at my job,"
Yes.
or things like that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
so I just mentioned my brother who's a doctor. So he was on vacation somewhere last December, and he called me and said, "Listen," he said, he was actually in St. Bart's. He said, "I'm in St. Bart's and I'm having lunch, and there's a guy here who came up to me and said, 'You look like someone that I know.'" And he mentioned you, and he
Right.
said, "I told him, yeah, that's my brother."
Right.
And he said that this person, this was a former student of mine who was at the University of Georgia, African American male student.
Mm-hmm.
He told my brother, he said that I had a tremendous impact on his life. He said that I called him on the carpet at the University of Georgia because I thought he was not working as hard as he had the ability to work. And he said, because I called him on the carpet,
Mm-hmm.
um, he said that when he finished the University of Georgia, he started this software company that dealt with software for leasing transactions. And
Okay.
he had just sold his company for several $1 million. And he
Mm.
was on vacation in St. Bart and saw my brother and asked my brother, he said, you look like someone that I know. And it turned out it was my brother, but he was telling my brother how big of an impact I had on his life. And
Mm.
so those are the kind of stories that are just huge things,
Mm-hmm.
and it's delayed gratification. So
It
I didn't even
is.
remember calling him on the carpet about him not working as hard as he could work, but he said
Right.
I did, and it led him to change his behavior,
Mm-hmm.
and he sold a company for multi-millions of dollars and trying to figure out what's next. So yeah,
That's awesome. That
yeah.
is awesome. I know that made you peacock proud.
Oh, it did. It did. It was a great story, and yeah, yeah. My brother had a great time with him at lunch that day. So yeah, it was good.
That's cool.
Hmm.
That is so cool. We do look for those moments. So do come back and
Hmm.
tell us those great stories,
Oh
students.
yeah, let us know. Your success is our success.
It
Yep.
is.
Hmm.
It validates what we do.
Exactly. Yes.
Hmm. Okay. So, what is one thing every young man should know before he graduates from high school or college that is typically not taught in the classroom?
So you're saying more of this in at the I mean at the high school level, but I
Hmm.
think every young man and woman should understand financial literacy basics. So I know
Yes.
there are a lot of schools that are starting to teach financial literacy, at least the basics of financial literacy. And I
Hmm.
think, before you graduate from high school and or college, you should have some understanding of financial literacy, at least the basics of financial literacy.
Hmm.
And I indicated, I said that this is a real issue for me and a real topic for me because I'm a CPA, but
Hmm.
I think of my son who's, done all this stuff, medically going to be a successful doctor and all that. But I didn't prepare him to responsibly handle his finances. And
Okay.
now my son is about to turn 30, and I'm
Hmm.
trying to work with him to say, hey, Ian, you have to be able to handle and manage your money. You're about to start
Right.
making a lot more money when you finish all these residency programs and fellowships. And
Right.
I have just done a very poor job of getting you ready for that. So I'm
Hmm.
happy to see that high schools are teaching financial literacy.
Hmm.
Colleges now some are starting to require financial literacy. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, I wish I had done more to help my son be prepared and be ready
Right.
to be independent in handling his own finances going
Hmm.
forward. but I'm starting to work with him now, or I've been working with him for the past couple of years. But I'm not. He's not to a point where I'm comfortable. And
Right.
but I, that's the one thing. Every person should know basics of financial literacy.
So students, you're going to have to seek it out if it's not a class in your program.
Oh,
You
definitely.
you definitely have to figure out how to manage your money. I totally agree.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
don't, it'll manage you.
It will manage you, or you will be taken advantage of.
That part, if you have no clue, you're absolutely right.
Yes. You will be taken advantage of and not even realize that you're being taken advantage of.
Yep,
Yes.
that's
Hmm.
true.
Yep.
Unfortunately, but it is very true. And there's a lot of stuff online. I know that LinkedIn has classes, and
Hmm.
there's some other things that you guys can do for free. But
Yes.
that's one of the topics that I cover in the Backpacks to Beef Crisis in my nonprofit.
Hmm.
But I've been doing it just kind of um, in person, right? I haven't made
Okay.
anything
Hmm.
online. But yeah,
Right.
we do need to help because there's no balancing of the checkbook anywhere. Everybody's on their app and all the things,
Hmm.
and they just spend until the money runs out and all
Right.
those things. And it's
Right.
like, no, there's a process. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. And I mentioned, the importance of investing, starting
Hmm.
planning for retirement when you're 20 to 29. So, but if
Yes.
you don't have that financial literacy training, you're probably going to miss that window,
Hmm.
and you'll be starting late like I did, and then you're chasing the eight ball the rest of your career.
True. True,
Hmm.
true, true. So get a jump start.
Yes.
Okay. What final message would you like to leave for young men who are listening today?
So I am going to give them a final message, and I'm going to say something that they already know.
Okay.
And that is, life is hard.
Hmm.
Relationships are hard. Life is hard.
Hmm.
And but having said that, once you understand that life is hard, then you hopefully stop looking for shortcuts. We're
Okay.
always looking for shortcuts.
Right.
And sometimes you find a shortcut. That's great when you can find a shortcut, but often there aren't any shortcuts.
Right.
And so once you realize that there aren't shortcuts, and then you start putting in the time and the effort to be successful, and then
Hmm.
that success starts happening to you. Now, again, I said success is never guaranteed, and I've
Right.
luck plays a role in it, but
Hmm.
you're more likely to be successful when you work hard and
Hmm.
you put in the time. You're
Hmm.
punctual, you do the things that we've talked about. Again, luck matters. But what I hope for each person listening today in closing is that you get to a point wherever you are in your life at whatever stage you are. So if you're young, this is great. If you're older, this is great too. But you get to a point where you are satisfied that you have done the best that you can do in whatever it
Hmm.
is that you're trying to do. And
Right.
you are satisfied with the outcomes because you know you have done your best. You've worked as
Right.
hard as you can. You've put in the time and effort. And again,
Hmm.
you may not get the results that you wanted, but you've done what
Right.
you can. All we can
Right.
control is how hard we work and the time
Right.
we spend. The
Hmm.
outcomes will be the outcomes, and hopefully they're the outcomes you want, and they're good outcomes. But
Right.
I want people to be satisfied that we have put forth the effort that we should have put forth, and that we will be satisfied with the outcomes, whether they are good or bad, and
Right.
we'll be satisfied with where we are in life.
Hmm.
Again, life is not fair. Some people will get lucky and have fabulous lives. Others
Right.
equally hard and may not have as fabulous a life, but
Right.
that's okay. Be satisfied in what you have done and what you have achieved, and that
Hmm.
you've worked hard for whatever it is that you have achieved.
I agree. That sounds to me like, and have gratitude for where you
Yes,
are and learn the
exactly.
lessons along the way.
Yes, definitely have gratitude, and
Hmm.
definitely take time to spend time professionally, but then also spend time personally, and
Yes.
take time to smell the roses and enjoy life.
Life
Don't be like my
balance.
colleague who saved up all that money, retired as a multimillionaire, and then got Parkinson's and can never enjoy that money.
Hmm. I
His
totally
his
agree.
kids and his heirs are going to enjoy it. Great for
Right.
them, but
Right.
he worked a whole life and denied himself all the things that he should have been doing. So just
Hmm.
a tragic outcome.
That's true.
Hmm.
I totally agree. And the thing is about things like that is the person who didn't earn it doesn't appreciate it as much
Oh yeah.
because they don't understand what came with it.
Exactly. And the hard work that it took to get there. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yep.
Exactly. Hmm.
Wow. Good conversation.
Yes.
Before we go, where can listeners connect with you?
So yes, so listeners can connect with me several different ways. So I said I'm a professor at the University of North Florida. So my work email is mark, M-A-R-K, Dawkins, Dawkins, at UNF for the University of North Florida.edu. So
Okay.
people can feel free to reach out to me via email.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm also going to say, here's my cell number, 904 557 4937. I
Okay.
cannot tell you how many times I give out my email when I give talks to young people, young groups,
Great.
and I tell them, reach out to me. They
Mm-hmm.
never call.
Mm-hmm.
They never, I
Mm-hmm.
rarely, I mean, never get a call.
Right.
And so it goes back to that we're resources, but you have to be willing to take advantage and reach out to
Mm-hmm.
benefit from those resources. So I've given my work email, mark.dawkins@unf.edu. I've given my cell number, 904-557-4937. And I have
Mm-hmm.
other faculty at my job that say, you give students your cell phone number? And I say, yes, because my experience is they're not going to call anyway. So it's
Right.
no harm in giving them the cell phone number. They're not going to call you. I mean, so few
So
students will call
true.
you that it's not a big deal giving them your
That's
cell phone
true.
number,
That's
or
true.
giving them your email. Yeah.
All right.
I hope
That's
I hope
true.
whoever hears this proves me wrong. Yeah,
Right.
right. Prove
Let's
me wrong.
let's prove him wrong and flood his phone and his email with all kind of
Yes.
calls and texts and be like, "What's up, Doctor Docs?
Yes, exactly. Yes. Prove me wrong. Yeah.
I heard your conversation and I want to know more about this, and this is
Right.
where I'm at." Like he really
Mhm.
wants to help y'all. So
Yes.
do call, text,
Mhm. Yes.
email, whatever is your
All of the
flavor.
above. Yes.
LinkedIn, he's on
Yes.
LinkedIn. So if you just
I
want to
am.
send a message and be like, hi,
Mhm.
just do something to just let him know that you hear him
Yes.
and that you
Please do.
receive the message.
Yes. Definitely.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dr. Dawkins, for your
Mhm.
journey, for sharing all
Yep.
the stories, for the
Yes.
impact that you're making every day.
And thank you for the invitation. I've enjoyed it. I hope that there's some benefit from it for some people, but it's been fun.
Thank you.
All
Now,
right.
whether you guys are fathers, mentors, educators, coaches, or community leaders, young men need examples of what's possible. This
Mhm.
conversation matters because representation, guidance, and encouragement can change lives. Young men, I hope you learned and gained some insight from today's episode of Beyond the Classroom with Professor Peachy. Men who are game changers, changing lives, building leaders, and creating impact. Do reach out to us and let us know what you're thinking. Have a great
Well,
evening.
thanks, Professor Peachy. All right.